So which of these three signs means that you must yield to oncoming traffic? Is it the first sign? Is it the second sign? Or is it the third sign? Now remember, a triangular shaped sign will warn you of a hazard on the road, or it will warn you about other things, right? Your circular signs will give you more information about the road, for example, your maximum speed limit and stuff like that. So in this case, one of these three signs will instruct us to yield to oncoming traffic. And in this case, it will be the first sign, the circular shaped sign with a black arrow pointing towards you and a red arrow pointing towards the other direction will actually instruct you to yield to oncoming traffic. And as always, I bring you guys the latest testimonials just to give you an idea as to what people are saying about these videos. So for this question, which sign prohibits vehicles that are carrying hazardous substances? Is it the first sign, is it the second sign, or is it the third sign? Now, when you are asked any question about hazardous substances, right, vehicles that are carrying hazardous substances, you must know that the icon for that will be a truck, the back of the truck. It will have a yellow diamond at the back of that truck. So from these three signs here, only the center one will feature that icon. Therefore, the correct answer here would be this sign. Which sign warns of a slippery road ahead? Now we can see these are three warning signs as they're all in the shape of a triangle and they all have red borders. Now the first sign, we can see an image of a horse. The second sign, we can see an image of a car that's losing control. How do we know it's losing control? We can see the tire marks and the car is like off balance. It's not set on the road. And then we can see a third sign with a yellow background and we can see a construction worker there. So the only correct answer here would be the sign with the icon of a car that is losing control, right? This sign will warn you of a slippery road ahead. Which sign will you find between the left-hand side of an off-ramp and the continuing freeway? Is it the first sign, the second sign, or the third sign? Now the third sign will actually show you the minimum speed limit within a specific lane. So it cannot be this, right? Remember, if you see a speed limit, which is a number in a circle sign with a blue background and a white border, it is giving you the minimum speed limit. If the border will be red and the background will be white, then it will give you the maximum speed limit. The sign in the center shows you a dead end to the right hand side. So that also will not be your answer. Your answer will be the sign that's all the way to the left. This sign you will find between the left-hand side of an off-ramp and the continuing freeway. Remember, if this white arrow is pointing towards the right-hand side, then you will find the sign between the right-hand side of an off-ramp and the continuing freeway. As you can see, this is your answer. Which sign warns of temporary road works ahead? Now, how do we know a sign is a temporary sign? It will have a yellow background. Now, what does a temporary sign mean? It means that it's not going to be there forever. If there's construction taking place, you will see that there'll be temporary signs all over. And once that construction is done, those signs will be gone. And the rules that those signs will enforce on the road will be, they won't matter anymore, right? So from these three signs, we can see the first one will have an image of a construction worker. Second one will have an image of rocks falling. And the third one will have another vehicle that is losing control. So in this case, the correct answer will be the sign that is all the way to the left, the image with the construction worker. That will warn you of temporary road works ahead. Which sign warns you that the road ahead ends because of water? Now automatically, once they say water, you have to look at each sign and see, right, which sign will feature water. And automatically we can see that the sign in the center will have water. As we know, right, these formations will represent water. So the correct answer here would be the image that is in the center or the road sign that is in the center. Now, which sign warns you that there may be low-flying aircrafts ahead? Now, from the three signs that we have here, you can see that only the third sign will feature an aircraft. The first one will feature a cow, and the second one will feature a horse. So the only correct answer here would be the sign all the way to the right. This sign will warn you that there may be low-flying aircrafts ahead. Now, which sign will warn you of traffic signals ahead? Now, when we're talking about traffic signals, we're talking about your traffic lights. Some people call them robots. This is what we're talking about. So your first sign will have a train in it. So obviously that cannot be the answer. And your third sign will show you a road formation. So that also cannot be your answer. The only correct answer here would be the sign in the center. As you can see, there's a traffic light there. And this sign will warn you of traffic lights ahead. Which sign warns you of domestic animals ahead? Now, when we're talking about domestic animals, we're talking about horses, sheep, stuff like that. And from these three signs, we can see only one will feature cattle, and that will be your correct answer. Which sign warns you of a motorgate to the right? Now, let's look at the three different signs that we have here. The sign in the center shows you a road formation, so it's not talking about a motorgate. The sign on the right will also show you a road formation, so that cannot be talking about a motorgate. The only correct option here would be the sign on the left, as that is showing you the direction in which there will be a motorgate. So this is your correct answer. Remember, if the arrow was to the left, it will warn you of a motorgate to the left. So which sign informs you of a pay toll ahead? Now we can see the first sign is indicating to you that abnormal vehicles cannot pass. And the second sign is talking about trucks, right? It's restricting any overtaking for these heavy goods vehicles. So automatically we can see the third sign. It has a blue background and a white border, and it has a capital letter T. And this T is referring to tolls. So obviously the correct answer will be the sign all the way to the right. Which sign prevents you from turning right at an intersection? So when you hear this, look for a sign that has an arrow that is pointing towards the right-hand side. And from these three, we can see it is the first sign. Remember, the second sign is talking about trucks, right? It has a length limit. And the third sign is talking about bicycles. So obviously those two cannot be the answer. Our answer will be the sign that is all the way to the left. It is an arrow that is pointing towards the right-hand side, and it has a red line that is going through the sign. And this sign will prevent you from turning right at an intersection. So which sign warns you of a dual roadway ending ahead? So again, we can see there are three warning signs. How do we know they are warning signs? They are triangular shaped. And the sign to the left is actually showing you an arrow that is pointing towards the left. So that's not talking about a dual roadway. It's actually the sign in the center that is talking about a dual roadway ending. As you can see, there are two lanes going forward, and the lane from the left will come into the lane in the right, and they will merge and join one roadway. So what this actually means is that the sign will warn you of a dual roadway that will end ahead. Which sign forbids taxis from passing beyond it? Now you would need to look for an icon of a taxi. As we can see, there's only the sign on the right hand side that has a taxi in it. How do we know it's a taxi? We can see it's a light motor vehicle with a sort of a rectangular shaped thing on top, right? And that will be your correct answer. Which sign allows minibuses to drive on this part of the road? Now remember, there are three types of buses you find on the road. There's your minibus, there's a midibus, and there's your regular length buses. How would we know the difference? It's obviously the length on the road sign. So as we can see, the sign on the left features a bus that is in between the two, right? It's not a minibus because we can see it's not small, and it is not a regular length bus because it's not as long, right? So obviously this will fall in between and it will be a midibus. So the correct answer to this question will be the sign that is all the way to the left. Which sign will you find where two roads join your road within a short distance? Is it the first sign, the second sign, or the third sign? Obviously, we can strike out the third sign. The third sign is warning you about wild animals that may cross the road. And obviously, the second sign is also not your correct answer. It can only be the answer that is on the left-hand side, because we can see this long line will be your road, and there's another line coming in from the right-hand side. And as you continue going forward, there's another line coming in from the left-hand side. Remember, each line will represent a lane on the road. So this is your correct answer. Which sign means that only abnormal vehicles are allowed on this lane? Is it the first sign, the second sign, or the third sign? Remember, if a sign is blue and white, it is allowing something, right? If it's a red sign, right, it has a red border and a red line going through, it's preventing something. So as we can see, this sign on the left features a A and a V, right? V stands for abnormal vehicles. And because it's blue and white, it will mean that only abnormal vehicles are allowed on this lane. Therefore, that is your correct answer. Which sign prohibits hitchhiking for 500 meters from the sign? Remember, from the time you see that sign, 500 meters from that sign, you are not allowed to hitchhike. Is it the first sign, the second sign, or the third sign? Obviously, when people hitchhike, they put out their finger, and the only sign that makes sense here will be the one all the way to the right, as that is indicating hitchhiking, right? That icon represents hitchhiking. So this will be your correct answer. Which sign prohibits goods vehicles from overtaking? Remember the sign in the center, I told you if it has a yellow diamond behind the vehicle, it is a hazardous goods vehicle. But because in the sign on the right, we can see two vehicles next to each other, but we can see a red line going through only one of them, this sign will prohibit goods vehicles from overtaking. Which sign prohibits goods vehicles past this point? Obviously, if you see that sign and you are in a goods vehicle, you cannot go past that point. And the correct answer to this will be the sign that is all the way to the right, as we can see a goods vehicle icon in that sign. And we can see a red line going through. So this will be your correct answer. We have now come to the end of our video. So this was just an attempt of mine to try to make the videos a bit more fun and engaging. A lot of people come in the comments and say that they are struggling to remember the road signs. So again, this video should help you remembering. I mean, if you like this new format, then please let me know and I'll continue making more of these. If you don't like this type of content, then please do let me know as well. And I will go back towards the old style of videos. For now, I'll see you on the next one. To those that are writing their tests soon, I want to wish you all the best. Don't forget to give this video a like if you found that it was useful for you. And if you want more videos like this, then please subscribe. And yeah, till the next one, goodbye, God bless, take care.